Thank Hashem that we're able to learn every morning. It's chus of our learning. We should have to base a mikdash immediately. Should be a refuah shlema for all those that need. Chil Nasim ben Sarah, Aaron David Alevi ben Menucha Lester, Avram Rachel ben Sarah, Ashan Shalevi ben Miriam Edel and Sarah Basnani. Today we start the new parak. It starts off Ein Darshan Barayas B'Shleisha. Yeah, you can't teach the laws of Arayas of forbidden relations with three people. Gemara understands this right now to mean that the three people includes the teacher. So you can't have teacher and two students. I think that's how it works.
Teacher can't teach two students.
Yeah, there can't be three people there.
Oh.
That's the original shot. Then we'll see what it's going to mean soon. Okay. And you also can't teach the act of creation. That would mean a teacher and a student. And you can't learn about Meiser B'Kava b'Yachid even when he's alone. Unless he's a chacham and he understands it on his own. So if that's the case. So the Gemara is going to ask, if he's not allowed to learn it on his own, then how does he learn it on his own if he's a chacham? It's going to be problematic. We'll see in the Gemara. Okay. What's Ma'aser Merkava? Probably. There's by the way, there's machlekes in here, Rashi and the Rambam and this and what it means. And what's that famous gra? In Shulchan Aruch it says, Lo yitayel b'pardes. Until in Hilchos Talmud Torah, Lo yitayel b'pardes means basically you shouldn't study Kabbalah until Achimale Kresa Basar Velechem or something. Yeah. Anyway, so the Gra comments that this is a Ramah that writes this. The Gra says that he doesn't know what the Pardes is, not him and not the Rambam. I think it may have been edited in certain Shulchan Aruchs, like it was toned down a little bit. Anyway. Okay, so what exactly these things are is a discussion. But anyone that looks at these four things, Rasi like, I thought it was a mistake. I thought it was supposed to be Roy like. Rasi like Ke'ilu like Bala Ilam. It would have been better for him, Rashi translates as like Rahmanis. It would have been more merciful for him if he never would have come into the world.
Is this referring to someone who actually sees the act of procreation with his own eyes?
No. Talking about the first part in Darshan Barayas. Are you talking about Meiser Bereshis? Meiser Bereshis would mean that God's creating the world.
Oh.
Yeah. Merkava would mean God's chariot. That's the literal. And now anyone that looks at these four things, which we're about to say, it's better if you didn't come into the world. What are those four things? Malamaila, what's above, Malamata, what's below, Malafnim, what's before, Malachar, what's after, or what's back, what's in front and what's back. Yeah, there's different interpretations here. Anyone that doesn't have concern for the honor of his creator, would have been more merciful for him if he didn't come into this world. Yeah, in the Rashi over here, there's a comment of Taisvis. Do you see that? Oh, my Rasila is towards the end of the Rashis and the Mishnah. So.
Isn't what before? Wouldn't that be Malifnei?
Tell me again.
Malif wouldn't what is before be Malifnei? Lifnim sounds like what's within.
Yeah. Malafnim would mean the inside. Someone translates it though that it means in time. I forget where I saw that. It's either time.
Yeah, the Quran has before.
Oh, okay.
Here it's pronounced Malefanim.
Oh, which means before.
Which means in front of. Lepanim, it's in front of the face. It's lepanim. It's in front of.
So that would mean in time, that would mean before? Or...
Mhm.
Okay. Did you see that? Rashi Hulai, Taivi Yafa Hayalai Im Laibala Ilam, Baimarni Shuhulashan Rahmanas. See that? Baimarni, and I say, that's Rashi talking, that Rasi is Rahmanas. Would have been more compassionate on him if you didn't. He quotes a Teres Kainim. Okay. Okay, let's take a look. Amrit Beresha. In physics, and they have a big problem because they say the world is expanding. The problem is the universe is expanding, right? The problem is what's it expanding into? It's a big problem. It's like an irresolvable question. So they claim that it's not resolving. Well, they claim that it's expanding into this space that's some sort of no space is being converted into space as it's expanding. They have to make up theories. But basically, it's beyond comprehension. They have to like imagine, just make things up and make it work. Okay, so Amrit Beresha. Originally, we said V'leiber Merkava b'yachid. You can't teach Ma'aser Merkava with one person. But then you said, unless he understands it on his own. Well, if he was only learning it on his own, because he wasn't allowed to learn it with anyone else or from anyone else, then obviously it would only be if he was Maven Midaita. He would have to be able to learn it on his own. But you said that if one person cannot learn it on his own. So that's a contradiction, right? Can't have the cake and eat it too. So, Hachi Kamar. Ein darshan barayas lishleisha doesn't mean three altogether. It means you can't have three students. Ma'aser Bereishis lishnayim. You can't have two students for Ma'aser Bereishis. You can't have one student. Unless he was able to learn it on his own. That's a different story. Okay. What's the pshat? What's the problem? He has to be able to understand things that, in other words, if he's a chacham or maven midaita, then the teacher is actually allowed to teach him. Because no one ever said that he couldn't learn on his own. It was just that you weren't supposed to teach one student, unless that's the type of student that could understand on his own. And what would that benefit if he can understand on his own? So what does he need the teacher? And the answer is that he can resolve his own questions because the teacher does not want to spell everything out in these mystical things. So he should not have to ask every point. He should be able to figure out the questions that he has. You're not supposed to teach the forbidden relations with three people. My time, what's the reason? A man to his close relatives, he should not come close, right? The pasuk says, ish trey. When it says twice ish, that's referring to two people. She'er b'sarai, his close relatives, is chad, is one. You should not come close to reveal the nakedness. What the way the Gemara is learning this is you should not come close to reveal the reasons of the nakedness. Legalis means to uncover erva, the nakedness. You should not come close to reveal the reasons. You should not teach it with three people. Gemara says, okay, once you open up that door, that whenever it says ish, if you're talking about that there's two people, and Alamiyata, the ksiv ish, ki yakala lalikav, a man that curses God, ish, ashita mizari lamalach, a man that gives from his offspring to Melech, which was a type of idol that had a fire. So Hachanami, that's also, you want to say that it's talking about two people. Ish over there was referring to that it's including even non-Jews have a prohibition. Yeah, usually the Gemara about the Shev Mitzvahs B'nai Noach is a Gemara Sanhedrin. It's mentioned here a little bit, Avram Menachai and Chulin, a little bit. But anyway, here we have another two. The non-Jews are obligated. They're warned that they can't curse God and they can't worship idols. And that you learn from Ish, a man. So the Gemara says, what are you gaining? You're telling me that Ish is telling me that it's including the non-Jews. Ish legali serva. Ish leisikrevu legali kol b'ser sorry. Also, the non-Jews are forbidden on the prohibited relations, just like the Jewish people. They also have those laws. Shev Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. Yeah, they have to keep the laws of Arias. I don't know if they're all exactly the same, but the general laws are the same. Ela midiksiv. This that it's written ushmartem es mishmarti. Wait, we're going to need another pasuk. Ella, we have a new source. The fact that it says ushmartem es mishmarti, you should guard my guarding. Ushmartem, you should guard is trey. And mishmarti is chad. That means v'marachman al bilti asais. Hashem says so that you don't come to do mechukas hatayivos from those disgusting things. So that means that you shouldn't teach it with three people. You should guard it from being taught to three people. El meyata, if that's the case, is that telling you that you have to guard from teaching Shabbos and teaching the mitzvahs? You should guard the guarding of the holies. That also is teaching me how many people is allowed to learn it. Ela maravashi mai ein darshan barayas b'shleisha ein darshan b'sisrei arayas b'shleisha. It's a problem over here. We're talking about the things that it's not written clearly in the text. Okay, we have to explain what our issue is, but like we learned yesterday that there are certain arayas, certain relatives that are not written clearly, like a daughter from someone that wasn't a wife, from a woman that wasn't that the person wasn't married to. Someone had a daughter, so you can't live with that granddaughter, but it doesn't say the daughter. And he can't live with he can't marry a woman and her daughter, but this is not a woman that he's married to. So this is like a missing a missing law. So this he's not supposed to teach to three people. My timer. What's the reason? Why can't you teach this type of law to three people? It says svarahu. It's actually logical. It goes like this. Beitrei kiasvu kami rabbi. If you have two students sitting in front of the teacher, so chad shakol v'tari b'hadei rabbach. One of them is having this dialogue with the teacher. V'idach matzli yudnei l'gemara. The other one is listening in, hopefully. Tlasa, but if you have three people, chad shakol v'tari b'hadei rabbi. One of them has the teacher's attention, and he's having this dialogue with the teacher. The other two are busy having a dialogue with themselves. They're on their phones, right? So, they don't know what the teacher said. They're going to come, because it's not written clearly in the text. It needs to be taught in, at least if it's not one-on-one, at least it's one-on-two, so that no detail is missing. Yeah, that's a big problem. Imagine a classroom of 25. But the only way to do that would be, okay, no questions. Because once there's a question, then okay, all the attention, there's this dialogue with one out of those 25, and then you lose 24. And then, okay, you missed it. Okay. What would come out is everyone would pick up 1/25 of every lecture. Only the bit that they had the dialogue with. Yeah. Okay, Ihachi kala Torah nami. That's a big problem. So the whole Torah should be exactly the same. It says, well, araya shani. This is these forbidden relations. It's a little different. Damar mar, because the master taught gezel v'arayas nafshay mechamdasan u'mesabalhem. Thievery and immorality. The soul, a person's soul desires them, and so maybe they're going to come up with rationale for different things to permit them or whatever. Ihachi, that's the case. Gesel nami. Nowhere in the Mishnah did it say that the laws of thievery have to be taught with only two people, two students. According to this, it should be the same. The Gemara says, Arayas bein b'fanav bein shalei b'fanav nafish yitzrei. Arayas, a person desires it even if the temptation is not right in front of him. He still desires it. The Yetzer Hara travels around with him. Gezel b'fanav nafish yitzrei, shalei b'fanav lei nafish yitzrei. Thievery, he only desires it when he has an opportunity.
Wow.
Oh, the safe to the vault in the bank is open. No, never dreamed that would be open, but now that he sees it, he desires the truck, the Brinks truck. So, but otherwise, no one thinks about that's even an option.
I don't know. It's legal to steal up to $900 or something like that.
Yeah, in California.
Yeah, in California, then
Really, that's what it is.
It's an opportunity. You never
I didn't know
have
that.
before.
Not legal. Yeah.
It's legal, so that you don't
You won't get
necessarily
persecuted.
Get
get
caught
prosecuted.
Same thing.
or detained even.
Why did they do that?
Difference between punishment
Why
and
can't they-
morality.
I know, but why don't they do?
There's so much of it going on.
Because it's California, that's why.
Oh, that's a problem.
So what happens when you leave
Because in
California?
Torah, din pruta kedin meya, you have to take every, even like a small,
So
even
what
a
happens when
penny
you
is.
leave
That's not
California?
what they say.
Okay.
They didn't do this. They
Doesn't
didn't do
sound
this,
good.
right?
Okay.
Let's go to California.
V'leiba ma'aseh bereishis b'shnayim. Ma'aseh bereishis, you're not supposed to learn with two students. Okay, we said Arayas problem was three students. Ma'aseh bereishis, a problem is two students. Minohani mili, where do you get this from? Tana Rabbana was taught in.
Vishnaim or Lishnaim?
Oh, so we now explain that it's lishnayim. Yeah. Yeah. What was the problem by Arias? That he's going to talk to one, the other two are gonna talk to each other. They'll miss out on some major halachas. Yeah. The only time that I would say that this is actually done is like sometimes by chassan classes, you get like a private teacher. Otherwise, you want to make sure the person actually knows it. He didn't miss I wasn't paying attention for that share. Otherwise, everything is just learned I learned it online. Okay. The Tana Rabbanan starting a brisa. Kishalna liyamim rishayim. When you will ask about the early days, Yachid shayel bein shnayim shayelim. One person will ask. You don't have two people asking. It says Kishalna when you will ask about the early days. Yachal yishal adam kaidim shnivrayim. This is a brisa that we're quoting. Maybe a person will ask about what took place before the world was created. That pasuk continues and says, you will ask the early days from the days that man was put on the earth, that was created on. Oh, man was created on the sixth day. Is he allowed to ask about what took place on day 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? The early days that were before you. You're allowed to ask from creation even before that, until beginning of creation. Maybe a person can ask what's above, what's below. I guess what's before and what's after. Talmud Laimar. L'miktzei Hashemayim ad ktzei Hashemayim. Mi'lemiktzei Hashemayim ad ktzei Hashemayim at Hasheil ve'in at Hasheil malamayla malamata malefanim malachar. You can only ask from heaven to heaven, from the edge of the heaven to the edge of the heaven. You can't ask what's before and what's after. I guess what's happening is that what's happening outside of the universe is exactly what was there before was creation. So you're not supposed to ask about what's beyond the universe, because then you're asking what was there before creation. Also, I mean, that's before creation was what's beyond the universe, and then God made the universe. Okay. Hashta the nafkale milamkteh shemaim ad kteh shemayim lemenayim asher berlikim adam al aretz lamali. Why do we need that other pasuk that says, basically, you're not allowed to ask from before creation. You can only ask from one edge of the heavens to the other edge. You can't go beyond that. So you can't go beyond creation. So why did we have to say that from the day that man was put on the earth? What does that teach me? So, Kidder Rebbe Lezer. What's the aleph here? Look at the Rebbe Lezer. The Amar Rebbe Lezer says, Adam Rishon min haaretz ad rakia. Adam Rishon was quite tall. He went from the ground till the sky.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, shenemar lemenayim asher bara likim adam al haaretz.
Doesn't it say that the rakia starts on?
Oh, we'll see. We'll see exactly what it is on the next page. There's a little bit more about that.
Wow. No, you said the,
It doesn't look like that over here.
but
Yeah,
sukkah, there's enough places it talks about, tuma, whatever. The one
Yeah.
tefach.
that just means an ayal is a tefach.
No,
Yeah.
but still, I don't.
I thought it says somewhere that it's at the walk from Rakia to Rakia is 500 years. Menards to Rakia is a walk of 500 years. That's a lot of steps. Yeah. It's a 500-year walk.
Sure.
We could work it out because we know how long the person walks 40 mil a day. I think it says. Say something like that. 10 parsa or something. It says we know how much a person can walk a day, and then you can work it out to. Anyway, are they walking on Shabbos? I don't know. Okay. Isn't there? Okay. So ukivan shesarach, but when he sinned, then Hashem put his hand on him and he diminished his size, shrunk him down. That means from back and in front, he formed me. And he put his hand on me. Now, when it says Achar v'kedem tzartani, it sounds like that he was created twice. One of them would be when he was tall, and one of them when he was short. Amar Rav Yudah Marav, Adam Rishon miseifa ilam vad seifa haya. He went all around the earth. Yeah, like the little prince. This went from one end to the other. He lay down and his head were at his feet around the whole. So, Shenemar lemenayim asher bara likim adam al aretz. He created him on the earth. He went from end to end. From the edge of the heaven to the edge of the heaven. When he sinned, Hashem put his hand on him and he diminished his size. Yeah, I have on the side over here, it says, diminished his size to just 100 amas. Okay. That he put his hand on me. The Gemara says, did we say that his height was originally from east to west? Did we say that his height was from the earth to the sky? The Gemara says, oh, it's the same measurement. All right. But by the way, now we figured it out. It's 36,000 miles to the heavens. Okay. Is that the circumference of the earth?
Yes.
Okay. You looked it up? Okay, Rav Yudah says in the name of Rav, this is the second Rav Yudah Marav we're having. Asar Dvar Nivru B'Yom Rishon. There were 10 things that were created on the first day of creation. Velohein. Shemayim, the heavens, Va'aretz, and the earth, Tayu, Vayhu, Or, Cheshach, light and darkness, Ruach, the wind, the Mayim, and water.
Always creation is not a result of.
Yeah, it has to be a creation. Yeah. Yeah.
It says
Nobody.
24,000 miles. Oh,
almost 25,000.
25,000 miles. It's only 25,000 miles, but I lost 11,000 miles there. Okay. So, Midas Yom and Midas Laila. What was also created was the amount of time for the day and the amount of time for the night. That was also created. How long a day is and how long a night is. Shemayim v'aretz. Where do we see that the heavens and earth were created on the first day? Except Bereshis bara Elokim as Shemayim v'aretz. In the beginning, Hashem created the heavens and the earth. That means it had to be on the first day. Taya v'avayu. Where do you see that was created? Except v'aretz I says Taya v'avayu. Or v'cheshach. Where do you see light and darkness? Well, cheshach t'ksiv v'cheshach al pnei sahim. It says there was darkness already. Or d'ksiv v'yer melikim yiyar.
The whole that goes against the several marks. Let's say that you question.
Yeah. 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 So in the Bereshis, yeah. Somehow these were all included in the Asar Mamash.
Day and night.
This time, you can have darkness during the day.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a machlekes if when we say darkness, if we're referring to a creation or if we're referring to the absence of light. You know. But here it seems that darkness is a creation. There is actually a concept of darkness. Get a dark flashlight, it shines darkness. Well, there is a concept in science of actually like dark, something that's like absorbs
Dark matter.
dark matter, pulls in energy or light.
When you daven, doesn't it say
Yeah,
Or
Yetzirah.
he creates us?
Black holes?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's actually a there are certain things that could actually be a creation. Ruach Mayim. What about wind and water? Obviously, they had wind and water. It must be that it was created already on the first day. Midas Yom, Midas Laila. The measurement of the day, the measurement of the night. There had to be an evening and a day. So we already had that amount of time for evening and a morning. Okay, Tana. Started in a brisa. Tayu. What was that tayu that was created? Kav Yarik Shemakav Eskala Olam Kulei Shemeni Yatzacheshach. It's that atmosphere, the thin green. Here, Yarik is not green, but I think in we have like a green. We have a green, thin green line that surrounds the Earth that allows us to have the atmosphere. What do they call it? Not the ozone. No, way beyond what holds in all of our atmosphere. The fact that we can have anything going on here is because of that.
Magnetic field or something?
The shield.
No, it's not the magnetic field. They only found it on one other moon of Jupiter, I think. It's just,
I don't know. They say that lights there.
but they have this sort of green. Anyway, whatever. There's a kav yarik. There's this line, blue. Well, it's yarik. Yellow. What is yarik? Green.
In the art scrolls, it says green.
Green. Okay, good. So I think that's mamish. It's mamish what the scientists tell us, that there's a green. Look at it. Google it. There's a thin green line, a thin green atmosphere that surrounds the planet that allows us to it allows to have water and wind, and otherwise it would just be like, everything washed, like those other rock planets, Okay. And from this comes out darkness. Shemeno, Shenemar, as it says, that he places darkness, Sisrei, to conceal Svivaisav around him. Bayhu, what is Bayhu? These are these wet stones that are sunken into the ground that, is it a green line? Maybe it's a blue line. Is it a blue line? Search the blue line, a blue thing. That that from it comes out water. Puts on them a line of tayu and stones of bayu. Okay. Light was created on the first day. He put them in the heavens. And it was Wednesday when the sun and the moon were put in there. What are you telling me? That light was created on the first day? You didn't have the sun and the moon yet. So this is according to Rabbi Lazar. It was a different sort of light. A person could use it to see from one end of the world to the other. He saw there's a Dara Mabel, people were corrupt, there's a Dara Flaga, they were corrupt as well. So that their actions were not good. So he hid the light. He withheld from the wicked. Yeah, that's the thin blue line. The thin blue line. Yeah, so it doesn't fit with this says Yarek. Maybe they changed colors. Okay.
That's what it's called, the halo.
Okay, you want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. See that's the thin blue line. Carmen line? Is that what it's called?
That's the atmosphere.
Okay. Do we see it from inside, or do you only see it from when you're in outer space? I don't know. Okay. So Lami Ganze, who did he hide this light for? Let's tzadikim laslavi. He hid it away for the righteous in the world to come. Shnemar b'yar elikim esar ki tov. So the light was good. Now it says ve'in tov el tzadik. Tov is tzadik. Shnemar im letzadik ki tov. Say to the tzadik he is good. That he is good. Kivan shira'ar shegantul tzadikim samach. He saw that the light was hidden away for the tzaddikim. He was happy. Shnemar or tzaddikim yismach. Light for the tzaddikim, he rejoiced. Okay. Now the Gemara says kitanoi. It's not so simple what was going on with the light. It says there's different opinions. One opinion is this opinion that we just quoted, that there was some sort of light, and you could see with it from the beginning of the world to the end of the world. There's another pshat. The sun and the moon were created, but they just were not put into orbit until the fourth day.
It's like you put everything in the shop. Places.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know the cosmology. They didn't teach that to me in yeshiva, but but at a certain point, I'm sure the things started to work around each other and all of that. So whatever all this means. Amar Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia Amar Rav. Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia says the name of Rav Basar Dvarim Nivra Olam. With 10 things the world was created. B'chachma, you would assume that this would be the spheres exactly, but of course the Gemara is not going to do that for us, because they have some sort of concealment. So b'chachma b'tfuna v'das. Chachma tfuna sounds like bina. Over here it means maven davar chadash mi pilpul chachmasi. Rashi says, and das, Rashi says, is yishuv. It's something settled. B'kayach, it's strength. The begara, gara sounds like shouting. Begvura is also strength. B'tzedek, with justice. B'mishpat is also justice, judgment. B'chesed, with kindness, brachmim, and with compassion.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't match at least very easily to the spheres. We're just going to quote psukim that show us that Hashem used these to create the world. It says, "T'ksiv Hashem b'chachma yasad eretz kainin shmayim b'tfuna." Hashem with wisdom, he founded the earth, and he set up the heavens with understanding. B'das, with knowledge. T'ksiv b'daitai tahimis nifku. This knowledge, the depths burst open. B'kayach gvura t'ksiv, with strength and with strength. Power or might. T'ksiv meichan harim b'kayach, he prepares the mountains with his strength. Nezer b'gvura, he girdles them with strength. Begaira, with like shouting. T'ksiv amudei shemayim irayfafu, the pillars of the heaven trembled. V'yismu migarasei, and they're astonished from his scream. Rebuke. Migarasei, yes, shout. Tzedek of mishpat t'ksiv, with justice and judgment. Justice and judgment is the foundation of your throne. Chesed of rachamim, with kindness and compassion. Remember your compassion and your kindness, because it was forever. It means from the beginning of creation. Rav Yehuda says, the earth was continuing to expand like two threads of the shesi. Shesi is the warp threads that are on the loom. Yeah, I don't know what that model is telling me. What does that say?
String theory.
String theory. Yeah, they told me that string theory has 10 strings. This is yeah. My wife has a cousin that's a physicist. So I asked him, he's in one of the universities in Israel. I asked him what he thinks about string theory and Kabbalah. He said, I would recommend that you just stick to Torah. The science is going to come and go, and they come up with theories. And anyway, so this is it's continuing to expand. Like we said before, that trembles and it becomes astonished from its rebuke. I am God, the omnipotent. I thought it was I'm the one that said enough to stop. Yeah. I heard a lecture once on this in the Torah and Science conferences. Someone gave a lecture on this. He was discussing, I don't know how he was mixing this into something in the ribosomes. I don't remember his thing, but it was talking about someone figured out how it doesn't just keep building without getting rid of the waste and the things that it needs to. Things have to stop at some point. That's the idea. Okay, can't just keep going. Yeah, like the English, things have to die. It's very important in the cell.
The centrioles, I think, are the ones that remove the waste. The ribosomes build, and whatever is waste, the centrioles take out.
Okay. Biology teacher, by the way. No one else has to know that. Okay. So, Amarish Lakish. When Hashem was creating the sea, it was expanding until Hashem screamed, rebuked it, and it dried up. He rebuked the sea, and it dried, and all the rivers he destroyed. Okay, Tana Rabbanan, stood in the Brisa.
Oh, it's so fast on this one.
Oh, okay.
we have
Let's
all
talk
the-
about that. The water.
Because we have these deserts that are high in the mountains, and the seas must have been there and dried out. Especially in Peru, there's these deserts of rocks and fossils that were deep under the water.
Uh-huh.
They're up high now, and it's dry. Instead of this,
How do they know that it was under the water? Because of the fossils.
I think so.
Uh-huh. And do they attribute that to the
To this, to
the-
Nahum.
1 second? Do they attribute that to what are the scientists attribute that for?
They quote this Nahum.
Oh, really?
No, I'm making it up.
No,
But they should.
do they attribute it to the movement of the plates or things like the continents moving apart and all of that?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you have to make up a story.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I just been in those places and I said, what are they doing here? What is this high altitude desert?
Right. Oh, there's from the flying fish. Okay, turn it up on it. Beishamai Yomrim. Beishamai says Shemayim nivra tchila v'achach nivra haaretz. First the heavens were created and then the earth. Shnema breishis bar elikim es Shemayim es haaretz. Yeah, there's a lot of philosophy and everything here. Beisil Yomrim eretz nivra tchila v'achach Shemayim. Beisil says no, the earth was created and then the heavens were created. Yeah, Shnemar. Hashem Elikim eretz v'shemayim. On the day that Hashem Elikim made the earth and then in the heavens. So you see the earth was first. In Breishis Bar Elikim Esa Shemayim Esaretz, the heavens were made first. Esa Shemayim Esaretz, the heavens and then the earth. But in the other pasuk, in the second account of creation in chapter 2, it says eretz v'shemayim, the earth and the heavens. Amalam Beisil Beishamai. So Beisil says to Beishamai, L'dvareichem, according to you, Adam Bein Aliyah v'achach Bein Abayas. Do you first build the attic and then afterwards you build the bottom floor? Shenemar habayna b'shemayim aloysa v'gadasa l'eretz yisada. It calls the upper chambers. He builds the upper chambers in the heavens and his vault on the earth he establishes. Amalei b'shamai le'beisilo. So Beishamai responds to Beisilo. L'devreichem adam meises sharaf raf achkach esekisei. According to you, does he first make his footstool and then he makes the chair? Shenemar. The heavens is the chair, the earth is the footstool. First you make the chair, and then you do the footstool. Okay. Chacham Maimrim, the Chum says Nivra, they're both created together. Shenemar Af Yadi Yastaretz V'Mini Tafcha Shemayim. Tifcha Shemayim means he spreads out the heavens. Karani Aleim, I call to them Yamdu Yachtav, they stand together. So they were created together. What is the other Beisil Beishamai? What do they say about that they stand together? That just means that they don't separate. I'm just not talking about how they were created, which means their position. Okay. Well, we still have contradictions here. Everyone's pulling a pasuk for their opinion, but the psukim themselves are contradicted. Rish Lakish resolves this. He says, Kishenivru bara shemayim. At creation, the heavens were created and the earth was created. When he spread it out, first he spread out the earth and afterwards he spread out the heavens. So it was created heavens, then earth spread out, and then the heavens spread out. This sounds like taking off our shoes and first you untie this and the left and the right, and then you put on all the complications. Okay. So, my Shemayim. What is Shemayim? I'm Rabbi Yesi Bar Chanina Sheshamayim. Over there is water. From Masnisatana Shemayim. It says it's fire and water. Malamid Shevina Kadosh Baruch Hu Metarfin Zebezev Asim Rakia. This is teaching that Hashem mixed them together, and out of them He made the heavens. Yeah, to study this properly, I mean, like if you want to study this scientifically to see how it would fit, you would have to know which elements, in the periodic table of elements, which elements are in each part, and Shemayim and Arts would have to correspond to elements, and which elements came from which elements. The heavier ones, and then from that came the other ones. And this, there's probably a way to study this in a more complex way than Okay. Show Rabbi Shmuel is Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Shmuel asked Rabbi Akiva Kshayim Mahalchim Baderech. They were walking on the road. Amalei, Ata Shimashta, Es Nachem Gamzu, Chaf Beishana. You that served Nachem Gamzu for 22 years, Shayadirsh Kalasan Shabbatayra. He would darshan every S in the Torah. I thought it was Shimon Amsuni. Maybe Shimon Amsuni was also a student of Nachum Gamzu. So, Esa Shemayim Vesaaretz Maha Yadarish Bem. What did he say? No, Rabbi Shmuel was not a big. Rabbi Shmuel was in general. He was like. Dibber Lashon B'nei Adam is a statement of Rabbi Shmuel. Shimon Amsuni. The Rabbis tell me the Chachamim was Rabbi Akiva that told Shimon Amsuni, I think.
So it was Rabbi Akiva.
Yeah. But being a student of Nachum Gamzu, that's what it sounds like. So what does he do with Eser Shemayim V'Saaretz? Amalei Ilu Nemar Shemayim V'Aretz Yisi Emer Shemayim Shmei Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We would say Bereishis Bara Likim Shemayim. We would say that Shemayim is God's name. That was part of his name. Achshav Nemer Eser Shemayim V'Saaretz. So Shemayim Mamish. And Eretz is Eretz Mamish. Yeah, the word S has different meanings, and one of them is that it's just telling me what the noun in the sentence. What's the right?
It's fine, like it sounds like Rabbi Shmuel. It sounds like Rabbi Shmuel is trying to hint about the 22 letters, right? He says you studied with him for 22 years. Aleph and Taf. It isn't right. That's kind of like
it's interesting that he added that in.
Right. I think in Sefer Yetzirah, right? It says, right? I don't know if that Aleph and Taf means that he created the world from Aleph through Taf.
Right.
With them.
Right. So Esaretz Lamali. So then why do I need Esaretz? You could just say Bereishis Bara Likim Esa Shemayim V'Aretz, and I would already know that it's not God's name. It says Lahaktim Shemayim La'aretz. I would have thought that it was both created together. V'Aretz Eisasaya V'Vayu. The earth was, I don't know how they translate it, devoid and desolate. What does it say? Empty and something.
He says unformed and void.
Unformed and void. Michti. B'Shemayim Aschal Bereisha. 1 second. The title, Ramesh, this is your question. Besides of Bereishis Bara Likim Esa Shemayim V'Saaretz, it should go back to saying Hashemayim is something instead of just jumping into V'Aretz. Why did it start with that? It's a good question. Tana de Rabbi Shmuel, it's taught in the house of Rabbi Shmuel. A king of flesh and blood. He tells to his servants, wake up early and meet me at the gate.
Oh, come on.
Hishkim, umatza nashim va'anashim.
Okay.
He wakes up and he finds over there men and women. Which one is he more? Is he praising more? The one that wasn't used to getting up early but got up early. The Gemara does not tell me if it's the men or the women. It leaves it vague. You can answer this, different ways. Yeah, I know some people are answering this different. So okay. Whatever it is, what's the point of this Gemara? The Gemara is telling me that Hashem was more impressed with the earth. So that's why he starts talking about the earth. That's the one that was more impressive. It's more Gashmias, I guess.
So that's why it has this kind of folksy way of answering a question. Like God got up early, or who would he praise more?
Yeah.
Instead of a scientific thing. It just says,
Right. Yeah. Tanya, Rabbi Yossi says, Eilam Labriya Shreis Veni Yedis Marayas. Rabbi Yossi says, "Well, okay, I think we have to stop here. Too much fun." Okay. Continue tomorrow. That's just the same.
it's a good chapter.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Have a good day. You're welcome.
Thank